Whoa, color me surprised. No jokes there, by the way. Look, in this video, we're going to cover the 6 reasons why the GOP won in Virginia. I'm not going to talk about New Jersey, but Virginia for this video, and we're going to start right now. Hello, my name is Kyle, and welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the 6 reasons why the GOP won in Virginia. Not going to talk about New Jersey. If you want to talk about New Jersey, go to the website below, gate.theconservativetake.com. I have my own special opinions on that, as you can imagine that YouTube will not like me to say. So check out that video that's below there when you talk about New Jersey and where it stands there and why. Well, I'll leave it there. So again, top 6 reasons why the GOP won in Virginia. And this article comes to us from Newsmax right off the press after the election. So this is a quick analysis on it. But in another video, we're going to cover the takeaways of what we learned from this election and how every other Republican candidate going forward can beat the Democrats at their own game. But that's going to be another video. But for now, let's kick in right now with this particular one. Now, before we kick this thing off, let's talk about some background information here. Just to let you know, the ex-vice president won New Jersey and Virginia in landslides against President Trump last year. Those 2 states, New Jersey and Virginia, are now defeating the ex-vice president and his sweeping, at times, far left agenda. So what's going on is, what happened with President Trump is that he forced the left to go further to the left, to the wacko 25 to 30% of the party, who happened to be the loudest part of the party. Thereby, because that power base was established with the squad and people like them, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer didn't have the wherewithal or the courage to fight against them because their policies pretty much are garbage. We all know that. And so because they hated Trump so much, Trump centered himself in the middle of the blue-collar American, which was been the bastion of the Democrat Party for decades. Now, every single middle issue, every issue that is important to Americans, the Republicans now own thanks to President Trump. Thereby, the left, hating Trump so much, distance themselves from Trump, well, they move themselves further to the left. And that is why Joe Biden double down, triple downing, and quadruple downing on those crazy leftist policies is what's causing Americans to flee to the hills. It also helped to explain what went down in New Jersey, which I don't agree with this particular thing. Again, check out that video on the gate and I would get into that. I think you kind of know what I'm talking about with New Jersey, especially if you saw what the results look like the night of the election to where they were the next morning. It seemed to me like there's a pattern brewing when it comes to, well, I'll stop there. Number 1, voters rejected the COOF and the mask and the JAB and the lockdowns. They were tired of it. Both Republican candidates made clear they opposed harsh lockdowns, mandatory JABs, and the mask deal. We're just tired of it. Murphy ordered every child over 2 to mask up, which didn't sit well with the voters. Phil Murphy, that is with New Jersey. Okay, so people are just sick of this stuff, all right? And so they're seeing now the effect of what a radical left agenda will mean on their physical lives. It's one thing to have taxes and issues and foreign policy issues and these sort of things that really don't translate directly to your life. I mean, yeah, your paycheck may go down a little bit or taxes may go up, but really day to day, you're just going through the flow. But when you have situations where you can't leave your house or you're being accosted because you're going down the aisle because your mask is below your nose, all of a sudden now people are seeing the effects of elections and they're seeing real effects on their lives, and it's making them upset, especially when it comes to dealing with their kids. Number 2, black voters did not turn out because black people, for the most part, are waking up. When it comes to the COOF, that's probably one of the biggest hesitancy groups when it comes to taking the JAB. Simple as put, we don't trust it. We don't trust the government. And we don't align with leftist policies in general. We just vote Democrat, I'm talking about blacks that is, because we think Republicans, by and large, are racist. That kind of rhetoric is just pushed out every 4 years, and we talk about this all the time. It's really embarrassing that we fall for it every single time. But now, again, because our lives are being affected on a day-to-day basis, we're seeing gas prices go up. We're seeing shelves empty for the first time in many people's lifetime. We see it happen in Venezuela, in Cuba, and other areas around the world on the news, but never going into our shopping centers and saying that we can't buy product A or B or C because there's shipping issues. It doesn't matter what the excuse the government comes up with. We don't trust it because we now see there's a stark contrast between what happened with President Trump to what we have right now. And for reason number 3, it's more of a nuanced and political reason, but it's very important. People wonder, why do people care about presidential approval ratings? It's because if you don't have high approval ratings, you don't have the backing of your constituencies. You don't have the backing of your Congress or your Senate, anything, because they don't want to go along with you, because if they do, they're going to put themselves into a position where they won't get elected. So presidential approval ratings are very, very important because it allows the administration to push forth agendas with a fair confidence that they're going to be able to get passed without having a lot of backlash from the people. Well, ex-Vice President Biden's numbers are, again, so low that no one wants to come near the guy. He is like a toxic thing right now, and no one wants to come near him. So the voters, by and large, are not going to vote for the party of the top ticket who has ratings so low because they put all of that blame on the ruling parties. And that is where Joe Biden is hurting the Democrats, and I absolutely love it. The 4th reason they have here is the fact that critical race theory backfired. And if you don't know what critical race theory is, we have a video below in the links why critical race theory is racist. And simply put, if you want the Cliff Notes, critical race theory simply says, it's a philosophy that's been around for a while, which simply says, if you're white, you are bad. You are the oppressor. And if you're of brown skin or whatever you want to call it, skin, anything other than white, you are the angel, you are the victim, and you can blame everything on whitey. That is critical race theory, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You're going to form a narrative saying that, well, it's because white people don't want history being taught. No.
Would offer us, like, how do you define racism?
Sure. So racism, I would define it as a collection of racist policies that lead to racial inequity that are substantiated by racist ideas. Sure. A collection of racist policies that lead to racial inequity that are substantiated by racist ideas.
Critical race theory is a theory of crap, okay? It's so involved, it goes back to a revisionist history of this country, where this country was founded on slavery, founded on oppression, which is nothing further than the truth. Just to give you a quick blurb here.
And so this was the Pilgrims being normal, but they did say it was against the law to mansteal, to kidnap somebody off a continent, to transport them to a new continent and sell them into slavery. Now that law matters. In 1646, the first shipload of slaves arrived in Plymouth from Africa, but because manstealing was a crime in Plymouth, the people of Plymouth imprisoned the ship captain and the crew, and they freed all of the slaves, and they actually charged the crew and the captain with the crime of manstealing. This is a big deal because you see the legacy of Plymouth is very different than the legacy of Jamestown, and this is what's lost today. One of the cool things that was done in the late 1800s is a map showing the legacy from Plymouth and the legacy of Jamestown, and it shows the legacy of Jamestown promoted slavery in many of the southern states, southern colonies, but the legacy of Plymouth promoted freedom and work ethic and responsibility and biblical values over the majority of the nation. Why does this matter?
That comes from Wall Builders, which I'm taking a class right now on biblical constitutionality, and I'm learning so much about that. And part of that is learning about the Pilgrims, the Founding Fathers, and what their beliefs were. So don't be fooled by any of this rhetoric. It's exactly what it is. It's rhetoric, and people see through it, and we reject it. No one wants to have their kids be taught the opposite of what the civil rights movement was teaching. You are valued by the content of your character, not by the color of your skin. Critical race theory says the exact opposite. And to me, it's ridiculous how they're able to get through this and push forth for people who don't even see that. And they're using it as a MacGuffin to simply steal your votes and to get you emotional every 4 years. And of course, number 5 is the economy. We talked about that before with the empty shelves. You can't buy certain products. Your taxes are going through the roof. You have everything is going up in terms of inflation. Gas prices are astronomical. Food prices are astronomical. People have seen a stark contrast with today to what it was when President Trump was in office. They're seeing their paychecks go down. They're seeing their food bill go up. They're about to see their power bills and their energy bills go through the roof. They're seeing now that they can't even go anywhere in their car because gas has almost doubled in many areas. In some places, even more than that. It's affecting people's lives directly, okay? And so that is not going to be tolerated by people. They're going to come out in droves to vote against that. And lastly, number 6, Trump helped the Republicans. Both the Democrat candidates attempted to paint their Republican challengers as puppets of Donald Trump, but Trump did not prove a liability at all. In fact, Trump probably helped, okay? I mean, that's end of the day. Trump is a very popular president. Again, it's the contrast to what people see now, to what they see then. They attribute prosperity to what they had before and normal living with what Trump had as president. Today, they see the opposite, so they're going to attack the ruling party as the people responsible. There's many polls out there now that are showing that people blame the Biden administration on many areas where you have from energy to inflation to critical race theory to immigration to budget spending. Every key area of what's important to people and Americans is being blamed on the Democrats. And Republicans are the ones who are also speaking truth. They are looking at common sense, whereas Democrats are in la-la land, don't know what's going on. They're very polarized. They're listening and watching CNN and MSNBC, getting the news from there. And those media outlets are so not trusted now that it doesn't even make a difference. Only the faithful Democrats are following that. And they're the ones in the polling saying, look, everything's fine in America and Biden's doing a good job. It's those people who are saying that, not the rest of Americans. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Virginia yesterday actually won the top 3 seats in the government of Virginia, that being Winsome Sears, Lieutenant Governor, who happens to be the first Black woman to have that office in Virginia, and Jason Miyares, who's the first Hispanic person to be the Attorney General for Virginia. And I'm only mentioning the race stuff because the Democrats like to call us racist and like to call us a party of white folks, whatever. Yeah, whatever. So I'm mentioning that just to throw it back at them, but it makes no difference. I don't care anything about your skin color. All I care about is, do you stand for the Constitution? And we will abide by the Constitution. That's all I really care about. And so, but the key thing is, these 3 seats, the governor, attorney general, and lieutenant governor, are key for keeping a state red going forward, because the attorney general, they're the ones who are in charge of election laws. They're the ones who are in charge of, certifying elections. We could have used that a year ago. So again, what are your thoughts on this video? What do you think about these top 6 reasons why the GOP won in Virginia? Again, of course, New Jersey, we'll talk about that in the other video, but that's going to be all I got to say for that. And also, it should be noted that the Republicans were able to take the state house in Virginia. So that's pretty huge as well. And if you like what we do in this channel, we take pop culture and politics and filter to you in a conservative manner, then please check out some more videos that we have for you right here.